Happy Wednesday, guys. Mike Caudill, brand ambassador for Go RVing, and it is Wednesday night, which means it's time for one of my tips, tricks, and hacks videos. Tonight, we are not doing this live. We've got inclement weather coming to the Nashville area, so we are working to keep ourselves safe with this storm that's impending and coming in. That's one. But number two is we're going to talk about boondocking. And to be honest, there's a lot of information to really get over to you. So we're going to break it down into some individual clips on what boondocking is, what it means, and how you do it. You ready to take a ride with boondocking? Here we go. All right, so up first is just the term boondocking. What does it mean? Well, boondocking means extreme rural camping. It's the type of camping that is usually off-grid, but most importantly, and what benefits you the most, is that most boondocking is actually free. All right, so the first thing that you need to know about boondocking is that there are multiple different ways of boondocking. So if you want to dip your toes into it, here are a handful of ways that you can consider boondocking. So first up is dry camping in a developed campground. There's a great benefit to that. First, you're still going to pay a small fee, but it does come with some amenities, but not full amenities like you're accustomed to, and that's dry camping. Wally docking, and that's such a fun term. I actually like saying wally docking more than I like saying boondocking. Wally docking is a quick overnight, right? So it's a stop in a parking lot, and there are a variety of different places that will allow for you to park overnight. Wally docking, of course, refers to Walmart. So if you're thinking about boondocking overnight, you can Wally dock in a Walmart parking lot. They're usually good. I go in and I actually let the manager know in any place that I'm going to Wally dock that here's the deal, we're out in the parking lot. That does two things. One, it alerts them that we are there. Two, they usually tell their security team that you've got an RV out here. Keep an eye on it. So that's awesome. Are you ready? Number three is, and I think of my dog when I say mooch docking, but there's something called mooch docking, and this is actually camping in someone's driveway. Now, I haven't personally done it, but it sounds kind of cool. So if you're mooch docking, you're going to be in somebody else's driveway, and usually it's somebody that you know. So actually, now that I think about it, I have done it before. I pulled right in somebody's driveway, my sister's, and we parked right out in front of her house, and we camped in their driveway for 2 or 3 days. The HOA was fine with it. We let them know that we were going to be there as we were passing through town. And then number four is the term itself, boondocking, camping with no electric, no water, and no sewer hookup. So what does that mean? Well, it means no bathrooms, so you're going to have to think about that as well. No Wi-Fi and some of the other amenities that you would normally have in a campground. And here's something else. If you really want to get started with boondocking, and for me, I've actually enjoyed doing this with my kids. I always think about my kids when it comes to stuff like boondocking. So if you're going to boondock, here's the very first thing is do a test run in your driveway. You know when you're a kid growing up and you put a tent out in the backyard and you go out and you camp in it for that first few nights before you actually head out and do real camping? Well, it's the same thing with boondocking. Park in your driveway and see if you can last all night long without running into the house with I got to go to the bathroom, or I need to go grab something out of the refrigerator. Like, actually try and do it for real. The next is do your research. Make sure you know where you're boondocking. That's kind of a critical one for us. I'm always thinking about safety as it relates to my family. So if you want to do it, a good place to obviously go, gang, is GoRVing.com. That's where you can find a lot of great information on everything that we do in the RV industry. Last but not least, and what is really important, is make sure that everyone that is boondocking with you, they fully understand what that means. No Wi-Fi, no amenities. So, and I feel bad saying this, but I'm going to bring up my daughter. Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. Well, make sure your kids go to the bathroom. Wherever you're stopping or boondocking, getting ready to boondock, make sure they use the restroom before. All right, so I am going to tell you my personal key benefit to boondocking. And I'm not talking about Wally docking. I'm not talking about mooch docking. I am talking about legitimate boondocking. There are three things that I love the most about boondocking. One, enjoying the outdoors without any other campers around me. I love that. I can just be isolated in my own world. Number two is unplugging. We all have so much technology today. Unplugging is absolutely critical. And then most importantly, stepping away from my daily routine, right? Like if I'm in a campsite, there's benefits, of course, and it's why I do a ton of it. But for boondocking, it's actually kind of an even more like more genuine way to completely unplug yourself and step away from your normal daily routine. All right, so the next part of the process is to figure out where you go boondocking. Now, there are a variety of different app-based software solutions that you can use. And for us, we used Harvest Hosts as part of our trip that we were on last summer with Go RVing with the Caudills. And by the way, if you haven't gone to Go RVing with the Caudills to check out some of the videos and things that we posted along that trip, you should. There's great tips, tricks, hacks, some of our favorite campgrounds. It was just an overall great experience, but I digress. On our way back, on our last run, we needed to make it from Panama City, Florida, all the way back to Nashville. And of course, when you're in a RV, you need to kind of take your time and be safe. So what did we do? We went to the app and we went and stayed at a place called Corbin Farms Winery, down in Alabama. I think it was right around Birmingham area. And it was amazing. The minute we used Harvest Host to find that location, then what happened? They contacted us. And they were like, hey, you guys are coming in. We had to put in the size of our RV and all that fun stuff. Well, we got there just in time to do some wine tasting, right? So it was fantastic. We'd already got to the location. We backed into the winery and they gave us a nice little spot in the back of the building. And it was awesome. Then what happened? After they closed, they said, hey, you guys can use the facility. You can play games out on back. We ended up playing cornhole for an hour with our kids, still sipping wine. We were able to patronize their location as well, right? Small business. We went in, we bought some bottles of wine. We thought about gifts for friends, and we were able to stay there. And that's one of the best benefits of boondocking, is that you get to explore and see things that you might not if you were in a specific RV location. So, what do you bring when boondocking? Because it's actually a lot different than some of the things you would normally just pack away in your RV. So you ready for this? The very first thing that I would tell you to consider is some form of solar power. Now, a lot of new RVs today come with solar on top, and that is awesome. But let's say you don't have solar capabilities. There are a variety of companies out there that provide solar. I know in one instance with us, one of the examples is Go Power. We have a Go Power solar system that we use. The second is bring plenty of water, right? Because you're not going to have water hookups. So you want to make sure that you have water accessible to you. And we always pack a lot of water to begin with. We store it down below in our Winnebago Forza. Another thing to consider is a first aid kit. Now, that isn't just for this boondocking example. The reason we're bringing up as part of this is that you're kind of off the grid. You're not as close to certain amenities that you might normally have with an RV park. So bring up a first aid kit along, which is really a good idea. Most importantly, safety, safety, safety. Share your location with someone. Family, friends, your next door neighbor, doesn't really matter. Make sure that you're sharing it with somebody. And then additional charging capabilities. If you don't have an onboard generator, you can get a battery pack, and there are a variety of options for battery packs as well. And if you're smart, you can use your solar panel to charge your battery pack. Then your battery pack can charge your cell phone. So you got to think about that as well. And then last but not least, speaking about cell phone, if you're going to be doing what I call a cross between boondocking and overlanding, which could be a whole different topic, think about a satellite phone as well. All right, so we hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. You know, there are so many tips, tricks, and hacks, and this boondocking one required us to, especially me, to maybe slow down a little bit and tell you a little bit more detail about why it's so important. So if you want to learn more about boondocking, of course, go to GoRVing.com. You can find out a lot more information about not just boondocking, but all kinds of other things happening in the RV industry. And of course, follow along with all of our social channels. There's a lot of great stuff not only coming out from us, but so many people in the RV industry. There's so many wonderful channels to follow along with. And of course, the Go RVing channels as well. Where we have a lot of great content for you to follow along with. Guess what? Next Thursday, I'm on the road. I'm going to be in Daytona. We're going to talk more RVs next week. I'll see y'all then.